Council meeting. This is the regular City Council meeting of May 23rd, 2016. The time is 7:30 p.m. I'd like to call this meeting to order. We'll begin with a roll call.
Mayor Pro Tem Bliss.
Here.
Councilman Clark.
Here.
Councilman Corbett.
Here.
Councilman Gettings.
Here.
Councilwoman Scott. Here. Councilman Soltis.
Here.
And Mayor Hartwell.
Yes, I'm here. Will you please rise for an invocation which will be given by Mayor Pro Tem Bliss, and please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Dear wise and loving Heavenly Father, President Reagan once said, "I've always believed that a lot of the trouble in the world would disappear if we were talking to each other instead of about each other." That is truer today than ever before. We've been given the gift of information, more data than ever before, and more ways to connect with our constituents to truly understand their needs. Lord, help us to use that data and our accessibility to our citizens to learn what we do not know. Help us to enter each and every debate with an open mind, and help us to find the solutions that are often buried in cooperation and compromise. Last week, President Obama said, "If participation means voting and it means compromise, it also means listening to those who don't agree with you. Bring them in and ask them tough questions, and maybe you'll learn something and realize you don't know everything. And you may have a new understanding not only about what your opponents believe, but maybe what you believe. Either way, you win, and more importantly, our democracy wins." Lord God, please help us to take the words of Presidents Reagan and Obama to heart. And tonight, help us to discuss the issues of our community through a lens of understanding, thorough dialogue, and cooperation with one another. Help us to work together and to encourage each other to excellence as we focus on making this city even more prosperous with each passing day. Amen.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. We begin tonight with a presentation, the 2015 Police Department commendations. And tonight we have our police chief with us. Sir?
Good evening, Mayor, esteemed members of council. Tonight, the Madison Heights Police Department will recognize a police service aide, police officers, and volunteers for their actions during 2015. I'm going to start out tonight by stating our Command Officer of the Year and our Police Officer of the Year were unable to attend due to scheduling conflicts. So I'll start out with our Police Service Aide of the Year, Stephen Gralewski. This commendation is awarded to any police service aide who has, as a result of diligence and outstanding efforts, been singled out as the department's Member of the Year in their respective rank. Police service aide Stephen Gralewski, who is now also a reserve, as everybody can see, began his career with the Madison Heights Police Department on June 5th of 2012. Over the last couple of years, Steve has earned a well-deserved reputation of being an excellent dispatcher, always doing his job professionally and in a highly effective and efficient manner. PSA Gralewski dispatches calls for service using the vehicle locator system within the computer-aided dispatch computer to ensure that calls for service are being responded to as quickly and as efficiently as possible. PSA Gralewski is always keenly aware of where the police officers are located and checks on their status if they have been on a call or a traffic stop for longer than normal periods of time. It should also be noted that PSA Gralewski is now Madison Heights Police Reserve Officer and that he is volunteering his time in addition to his duties as a police service aide. And it should be noted that he spent all his own personal money to go through the Reserve Academy. PSA Gralewski is an asset to the Madison Heights Police Department. It is with pride that I announce PSA Gralewski as the 2015 Police Service Aide of the Year.
Congratulations.
Congratulations and thank you for your service.
Thank you, Steve, for making it down. Thanks.
Congratulations. Thank you, Stephen.
Okay, the next award will be for the Police Reserve Officer of the Year, Charlie Fresh. The reserve unit currently consists of 17 reserve officers. Those closely screened officers complete a 125-hour police reserve academy and then receive additional training by riding with experienced reserve officers. The primary functions of the reserve unit include assisting sworn officers when requested, checking vacation homes, patrolling schools and parks, conducting crowd and traffic control at city and school events, and delivering subpoenas for the department's Detective Bureau. Police Reserve Officer Charlie Fresh has been a reserve officer for 16 years. In that time, he's risen through the ranks to his current position of Director of the Police Reserve Unit. As Director, he oversees the daily operations of the Reserve Unit, ensuring Reserve cover their assignments at events such as the City Memorial Day Parade, the Festival in the Park, and many high school sports events in addition to their regular patrol duties, just to name a few. When called in for emergencies by the police department, Charlie is always quick to respond and to call other reserves to assist as needed. This relieves the police department of some of the added pressures that come with emergencies such as power lines down during heavy storms. Charlie has always been very active, donating countless hours to the city, and in 2015 alone, he donated 294 hours of his time to the city and the police department. He's always willing to come in with short notice and help out behind the scenes whenever he can. He goes above and beyond his duties without looking for any type of recognition from anywhere. In doing so, he's been invaluable to the city, the police department, and the reserve department, which he has also received this award in the past. It is with deep appreciation that I announce Charlie Fresh is the 2015 Police Reserve Officer of the Year.
Congratulations.
Thanks for all the volunteering. Thanks.
Thank you, Charlie.
The next award will be for the Crisis Response Team Member of the Year, Marilyn Maley. The purpose of the Crisis Response Team is to assist persons who are traumatized by incidents that they have been either directly or indirectly involved in. These volunteer responders are given extensive training in crisis intervention techniques prior to participating on the team. The Crisis Response Team consists of 6 members who are available to respond to traumatic scenes 24 hours a day, 365 days a year at the request of the police department. The Madison Heights Crisis Response Team Member of the Year for 2015 is Marilyn Maley. Marilyn was a key member during the formation of the Crisis Response Team back in 1984. This civilian group offers assistance to people who have been witness to or directly involved in traumatic incidents. She has rarely missed a meeting or an opportunity to help others and has always maintained a willingness and eagerness to help people in times of hardship, whether they're victims of a crime or have suffered the loss of a loved one. Although not directly related, it should also be noted that Marilyn has also served on the Police Reserve Force since 1977 and continues to serve as secretary of that unit. She's also a member of the Crime Commission and a Madison Heights Good Fellow. Donating countless hours to this city, she maintains a positive attitude and commitment to the community. She has received this award and many other awards in the past. She's been a great asset to the police department, the city of Madison Heights, and the community as a whole. She's a hardworking and dependable person who has consistently contributed her time, effort, and skills for close to 40 years to make the city of Madison Heights a better place to work and live. It is with sincere appreciation that I announce Marilyn Maley is the 2015 Crisis Response Team Member of the Year.
Nice job, young lady. Take care.
Congratulations.
Thanks, Marilyn.
Nice job, Marilyn.
The next award will be a Bravery 2 award that will be issued to 2 officers, Officer Stephen King and Officer Cameron Fegris. This commendation is awarded for bravery shown by a member or members in the performance of his or her duty, which may have arisen through an emergency or otherwise in the line of duty. Because of the nature of the officer's actions, a life may have been saved, a serious crime prevented, or a person who committed a serious crime displayed or used a dangerous weapon during the commission of the crime. On April 16, 2015, at approximately 12:55 a.m., dispatch received a 911 call from a woman reporting that there was an African-American male breaking in the back door of her home located in the 28,000 block of Denise. As the male suspect was breaking in the back door of the home, the female homeowner was able to flee out the front door into her neighbor's house where she made the 911 call. Officers King and Fegris responded to the call and were the first officers to arrive on scene. Officer King observed the suspect through the kitchen window and saw the suspect run towards the front of the home. Officer King announced police several times and after getting no response from inside the home, he made entry into the home along with Officer Fegres. Officer King located the suspect in the master bedroom of the home, and after repeated orders to do so, the suspect refused to show his hands. Officer King took a hold of the suspect and then immediately realized that the suspect had a weapon in his hands. Officer King immediately realized the danger that he and the other officers faced from this suspect, and he quickly grabbed a hold of the suspect's handgun by grabbing the slide of the weapon to prevent the weapon from being fired. Officers King and Fegres together were able to disarm the suspect. The suspect continued to resist the officers, was eventually taken into custody and handcuffed by both of these officers. Subsequent investigation revealed that the suspect was the former boyfriend of the homeowner and that he had fired 2 shots inside the house prior to the officer's arrival. 1 gunshot was fired in the basement of the home, and 1 gunshot was fired under the homeowner's bed. The suspect was found to be in possession of a suicide note. It was to be his last crime. The quick thinking and ultimate bravery exhibited by Officers King and Fegres were instrumental in getting the suspect into custody quickly before anyone could have been seriously injured or allowing the suspect enough time to have barricaded himself inside the home. It is with my utmost respect that I present Officers King and Fegres with one of the highest awards given by the Police Department, Bravery 2.
Nicely done.
Fantastic job.
Nicely done. Good job.
Congratulations.
Thanks for working for us.
Nice job.
Thanks for working.
Nice job. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, the next award we have is a Citizens Award for Dr. Robert Cassidy. This commendation is awarded to any individual whose actions resulted in the apprehension of criminals, a life-saving act, or actions that greatly assisted the department in combating crime. On October 31st of 2015, the Madison Heights Police and Fire Departments were dispatched to 30454 Groveland on a house fire. Upon further investigation, it was discovered that the homeowner, Fernando Gonzalez, had been brutally murdered, and the fire had been set in an attempt to destroy evidence of that murder. Within the next 48 hours, officers located the decedent's vehicle that had been stolen from the crime scene. The vehicle was located in the parking lot of the Madison Medical Arts Center owned by Dr. Hasbany. The Madison Medical Arts Center has video cameras located on the outside of the building. He was able to make immediate contact with Dr. Hasbany at his office and make arrangements to view the video from his building cameras. Dr. Hasbany took time away from his patients to ensure that the police department was able to view the video that he had. Dr. Hasbany went another step even further to assist the police department in this case. During office hours, while he was very busy with patients, he made contact with his IT company and advised them to assist the police department in any way possible. Dr. Hasbany authorized the police department to have access to all of his building video for the dates and times in question for this investigation so that we could fully investigate how this vehicle entered into the parking lot that evening. With this access and with our continued investigation, the police department was able to positively identify a suspect, identify potential witnesses, and eventually make an arrest in the murder of Fernando Gonzalez. The video supplied by Dr. Hasbany was of crucial importance in this case. It was essential in providing information necessary for the apprehension of this suspect. It is with great pride and appreciation that the Madison Heights Crime Commission and the Madison Heights Police Department awards Dr. Hasbany for his outstanding and continuing community service to the citizens of Madison Heights.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Doctor.
Okay, the final presentation this evening that I have is a certificate of appreciation from the Madison Heights City Council to the Madison Heights Police Reserve Unit. Whereas the Madison Heights Police Reserve Unit is a quasi-military group having specific rules and regulations which designate the reserve unit's role, and whereas City Ordinance Number 508 was passed on November 12, 1973, establishing the Police Reserve Unit, and Whereas Madison Heights Police Reserve Unit is under the direction of the Chief of Police and supervised by the Auxiliary Services Sergeant, a sworn member of the Madison Heights Police Department. The primary function of the Reserve Unit is to aid and assist the sworn M. Cole certified police officers of the city, to allow the certified police officers more time to do their patrol functions. And whereas the police reserves are utilized for many special events within the city which can be very large, with attendance of several thousand people. These special events include the Memorial Day Parade, the pre-4th of July Festival in the park, school sporting events, and emergency functions as necessary. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Mayor and City Council extend heartfelt thanks to the Madison Heights Police Reserves Unit for providing these great services and extend the certificate as a symbol of our appreciation for their civic-minded contributions to the City of Madison Heights.
Let's do a good job.
You guys do a great job.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
Okay, that concludes the Police Department's accommodations for 2015. Mayor Hartwell and members of council, thank you for your time and for allowing the Police Department to honor its employees and volunteers and citizens for their actions and dedication to our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Haynes. Next, we have approval of the agenda. Are there any additions or deletions? Hearing none, we'll move on to item A. Business licenses initial and business licenses temporary and seasonal. We have two applicants tonight. Number one, Edge Living, a dietary supplement shop on 14 Mile, and a temporary license to Value Center Market on 14 Mile for outdoor sales. What's the wish of City Council?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Clark.
I'd make a motion to approve business license initial, Edge Living, a dietary supplement shop. Under business license temporary and seasonal, Value Center Market, subject to compliance with all departmental and ordinance requirements.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Corbett?
support.
Thank you. A motion by Councilman Corbett, or excuse me, Councilman Clark, seconded by Councilman Corbett to approve these two licenses subject to compliance with departments and ordinance review. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion passes. Congratulations. There are no business licenses, non-commercial tonight, so we'll go on to item B, public hearings. There are none. Is there anything on tonight's agenda that members of the audience would like to be brought forward at this time? Okay, we'll go meeting open to the public. If anyone would like to address City Council, please come to the podium now, speak into the microphone. Please direct your comments to me, and if you could limit them to 3 minutes or less. And do keep in mind that your words will be public record and you're filmed on TV as you speak. And it's your option. If you would like to state your name and address, it would help us.
Okay, my name's Gloria Moore. I live at 27368 Dartmouth. Friends of the Madison Heights area Senior Citizens is having its new officers meeting on the third Tuesday of June 21st at Wilkinson at 7 o'clock. We also happen to have a chauffeur licensed driver in our group, so we have known to be, in the past, have picked people up to come to the meetings. And also beverages and snacks are on us. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Moore. Would anyone else like to address City Council? Please come to the podium now. Hi.
My name is Joanne Staba. I live at 113 West Dallas, and I know this may not be with the city board right now, but we're trying to fight the area of where Monroe used to stand, that we do not want houses built there. We want it left open as a green area. And everybody's been invited before on Facebook to a meeting, so I don't want anybody to feel that they've been left out. And that's all I have to say for right now.
Thank you, Joanne.
Thank you.
Would anyone else like to speak?
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
Good. How about you?
Good, thank you.
Kurt Urich. I live on 420 West Kalama, and I am also here with Joanne to talk about the housing. My kids and all the kids in my neighborhood are always in the park playing, even in the field, which I've heard people don't consider the park, but you know, my son is out there chipping golf balls with his friends and stuff, and just want to know that I don't think it'd be a good thing.
Okay, well, thanks, sir.
I don't know what else to really say, but
Well, that's helpful. Technically, there's nothing on the agenda
Yeah.
tonight, but your comments are helpful, so any input you have, we will listen.
I don't know anybody that, you know, there's always kids up there playing, whether it's in the park or even in the field. 98% of the time I've been up there, just in the past 2 weeks, there's been somebody in the field playing, whether it's a group of people kicking a ball or playing catch, or, you know, a dog kind of running around with their owner. So, thanks.
Thank you, sir. Would anyone else like to address City Council on any subject?
Russ Bettridge, and I'm also here with Joanne, 114 West Dallas in Madison Heights. And I think it would be a wonderful idea if we could keep that area as a green space. I know that Madison Heights is very packed housing. It's hard to find enough room in a yard to put the house and a garage and have enough room for a garden. So having some green space over there where people can really move around and play and things is very nice. And hopefully we can find some way to get that property for public use.
Mr. Metchers, could I ask a question? Could you frame the streets that border this property? I don't know if everyone is familiar with where Monroe Elementary was.
Well, let's see, I can give you two of the streets. There's Alger, which is on one side of my house, and Dallas that's on the other. Let's see, what's the other ones? Barrett and Dartmouth.
So it's in the southwest corner of the city. West Dallas is on the north, West Barrett's on the south. Kind of is near the service drive by where the
Yes.
two freeways merge. Okay. Anything else? I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'll give you some more time.
No, I think that's got it for me. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Meeting's still open to the public. If anyone else would like to address City Council. Okay, thank you. We'll close the public hearing. Next on the agenda will be communications. C1 is a communication from Mary Merkel. It's her resignation from the Historical Commission.
Historical Commission member Mary Merkel has submitted her resignation from the board effective immediately. Staff and I recommend that council accept this resignation and declare the seat vacant.
Thank you. What is the wish of City Council?
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Corbett?
Sir, I move that the council accept the resignation of Mrs. Merkel, declare vacant the seat, and issue the appropriate resolution of thanks.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Mr. Mayor?
Mrs. Scott?
Second.
Thank you. A motion by Councilman Corbett, seconded by Councilwoman Scott, to accept the resignation of Ms. Merkel, declare the seat vacant, and send an appreciation note.
Your Honor.
Yes, sir?
Just a couple of quick comments, and then I think Mrs. Scott might have something to add. I didn't realize how deeply ingrained the Merkels were in the history of the community until the book that was published and is still available, I understand, by Mrs. Scott and Ms. Yearman. They go back a long ways with some of the founding groups, and I really didn't realize it until I saw Ralph and photos and his wife and everything. So just a thank you for a long 50-odd years worth of service to the community. It's incredible. They had pictures. What was it, Marcin? It was like it was the, not the JCs, but like one of the original baseball leagues or something way back when with their kids. I don't remember, but that's all, Your Honor. I'll pass on there.
Mr. Mayor?
Please.
If I may speak,
Yes.
about the Merkles. They are absolutely wonderful people, and the Historical Commission have always considered them walking history because Mary has the very gifted blessing of being able to recall so many things. She will tell you the date, she will tell you the weather. She's just amazing, and we have used her so much in the Historical Commission. I do want to credit her because when the Madison schools brought over all their scrapbooks, we knew that they were going to have to be redone so that they would be able saved forever. And Mary took a simple little kitchen penknife and scraped those little newspaper clippings off of countless scrapbooks to preserve them because they were glued to the paper. And she scraped all those little countless news clippings off, and then we reassembled into albums. So we are really going to miss her. I know that Ralph was a volunteer. Was he a firefighter or a police officer?
Firefighter.
Firefighter, yeah. And he goes way back, and he can tell you all kinds of things, but bless them. They are just an asset to our city, and we appreciate all that they've done for us. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Well said. Any other discussion?
I have a little bit,
Please.
Mr. Mayor. Ralph and Mary were quite active in a program in the city called COST. That's the Civilian Operations Surveillance Team. Take, for instance, if there was hubcaps being stolen at the Star Theater, they would sit in their car, whether it was in the winter, summer, or whatever it was, with their CB radio, and if they noticed something suspicious, they would call the station. The station would immediately send a car out. I don't know how many hours they put in, but it had to be in the thousands. That's all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Let's see. Was motion made by Councilman Corbett, seconded by Councilwoman Scott, to accept the resignation, declare the seat vacant, and issue whatever letter of appreciation is typical. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Next communication is C2 from Cub Scout Pack 1587, which is a request to waive fees to Civic Center Park.
Cub Scout Pack 1587 has requested permission to use Civic Center Park and Pavilion C for their annual family picnic and year-end awards ceremony on Friday, June the 10th at 6 p.m. The group has also requested a waiver of the pavilion rental and damage deposit fees. Staff and I recommend that council approve the requested use of the park and Pavilion C, subject to compliance with council's policy on uniform insurance requirements for special events.
Thank you. What's the wish of City Council?
Mr. Mayor,
Mrs. Scott?
I move for Cub Scout Pack 1587 to use Civic Center Park on June 10th, 2016, and that they have a waiver of fees for the use of the park and for compliance with the council's policy on uniform insurance requirements for special events.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Clark?
second.
Thank you. Motion made by Councilwoman Scott, seconded by Councilman Clark, to approve the request from Cub Scout Pack 1587, subject to council's uniform policy on insurance. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Next on the agenda is D1, a report from the City Manager's Office regarding a lease agreement with the Chamber of Commerce.
In March, staff met with the Chamber of Commerce Director, Carrie Vilmassi, to discuss an unsolicited proposal from the Chamber to lease space at City Hall. The Chamber's current lease expires at the end of June. Given their current rent amount of $600 per month and the fact that Ms. Vilmassi spends most of her time out in the communities, the Chamber wishes to split office space between Hazel Park and Madison Heights at a more affordable rate. The Chamber has agreed to lease space in Hazel Park for an estimated 2 days a week and are looking for suitable space in Madison Heights to cover the estimated 3 days a week that she would be in the city. The Chamber does not require much by way of amenities: a private office, a desk with a couple of chairs, a space for 2 file cabinets, about 400 square feet. Staff and I have identified a suitable space in the upper-level West End office area formerly used by youth assistants. Ms. Belmassi has also indicated the Chamber's agreement to cover any one-time DPS cost to add the Chamber to our Civic Center wayfinding signage. A monthly rate of $250 and a 2-year term have been established, and Ms. Belmassi has agreed that she would be the only person accessing City Hall during business closure times, such as midday lunch period or occasional evenings. For council's information, the city did lease office space to the Chamber in the past in Fire Station Number 2 building between 1994 and 2000. Staff and I believe that this arrangement would be a win-win for the city and the Chamber, and have presented a draft lease agreement, which is written by the Assistant City Attorney. This agreement has been approved by the Chamber Board. Staff and I recommend that council approve the lease agreement and authorize the mayor and the city clerk to sign on behalf of the city. If approved, this lease will begin July the 1st.
Thank you. What's the wish of City Council?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Clark?
I'd make a motion to approve the lease agreement and authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign on behalf of the city. If approved, the lease will begin on July 1st.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second?
Mr. Mayor,
Ms. Scott?
second.
Thank you. Motion made by Councilman Clark, seconded by Councilwoman Scott, to approve the lease agreement with the Chamber of Commerce, authorize the mayor and clerk to sign on the city's behalf with a lease term to begin July 1st, 2016. Is there any discussion?
Your Honor.
Mr. Bliss?
Just really quick, I want to point out for the public that this chamber lease agreement, this particular Chamber of Commerce has no affiliation with any political action committees. So that's very important to point out, that there is no potential for any campaign contributions to come to anybody within the city ever running for anything. This is completely separate from the Chamber of Commerce's PAC. So the Michigan Chamber of Commerce is completely separate from our local chamber here.
Thank you, sir. Any other discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Sherman?
yeah, Charter 12.1 of the charter requires 5 affirmative votes to lease any space, so I would recommend a roll call.
Thank you. We will do that. Any other discussion? All right. Will the clerk please take a roll call vote?
Mayor Pro Tem Bliss,
Yes.
Councilman Clark,
Yes?
Councilman Corbett,
Yes.
Councilman Gettings,
Yes.
Councilwoman Scott,
Yes.
Councilman Soltis,
Yes.
Mayor Hartwell.
Yes. Motion carries. We'll move on. Item E, there's nothing tonight. Item F1, a bid, award, and purchase from the police department regarding in-car video system.
City Council is requested to waive the formal bid process and approve the quoted expenditure of $52,072 to L3 Communications, who provided a seamless integration and upgrade of the police department's in-car video equipment with the least amount of disruption to the department's services and records.
Thank you. What's the wish of City Council?
Your Honor.
Mayor Pro Tem Bliss?
I move that we approve the expenditure of $52,072 for the police department in-car video system and award that to L3 Communications.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Mr. Mayor? Second.
Mr. Gettings? Thank you. Any discussion on this item?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Sherman?
can Mayor Pro Tem Bliss please add to the motion to waive the formal bid process as part of the motion? I didn't hear him say that. I don't know.
Happy to amend my motion, Your Honor.
Mr. Gettings, do you accept?
Same thing.
Okay, I'll restate the motion. Motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Bliss, seconded by Councilman Gettings, to approve the expenditure for the in-car video system to L3 Communications for the price stated in the report, and to waive the formal bid process. Is there any discussion on this item? This is just a softball type question, but I noticed when we want to waive the process, we got to state the why it's in the city's best interest to make this purchase or to waive the process. Maybe the chief, could you explain why is this in the city's best interest?
Yes. The two major companies that service in-car video cameras for police departments are WatchGuard Video and L3 Communications. Approximately about 6.5 years ago now, I believe, the city had chosen to go with L3 Communications. in order to switch to a different company midstream would cause all kinds of grief and headache. We would have to replace the entire system. We would not be able to use any of the software that we currently have, the server that we currently have, and from approximately 2007 on, we would lose all recovery of any data from in-car videos that were taken if we did not stay with L3 Communications. The two companies and any other companies that are out there are not, they're proprietary. So, and it was a lot cheaper too. By doing an upgrade, we were able to use a lot of our equipment that we already had.
Not bad. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. There's nothing for items G or H. Can I please have a motion to adopt the minutes from the regular meeting of May 9th, 2016?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Corbett,
so moved.
is there a second?
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Clark,
Second?
any discussion? Let's see. Motion is to adopt the minutes as printed from May 9th, 2016. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Are there any appointments to boards and commissions tonight? All right, seeing none. We don't have an executive session scheduled tonight. So before we adjourn the meeting, I invite city council members, if you have any closing comments. I'd like to begin with Councilman Robert Corbett.
Couple things this evening, sir. First of all, just a reminder, Fridays at 1 o'clock, we maintain office hours at the library. If you have any concerns or questions on anything going on in the community, you're welcome to stop by and talk. I'm always there, and occasionally we get guest appearances by others there. So please, no appointment necessary. Feel free to stop by. Congratulations to all the winners from the Police Reserve Unit. They do a great job, and we would be deep in the weeds without the reservists. They take a lot of pressure off our regular officers and do fine work, and occasionally a little bit on the dangerous side from the sounds of it too. So we're very grateful that we have them among us. I've had some requests and for a statement by the board, by the council, on issues relating to discrimination based on gender and sexual orientation and so on. So I've had some preliminary discussions with the attorney's office on this issue. So I would like to see for council's consideration a draft resolution opposing discrimination based on gender, gender identity, or sexual orientation. And to me, one of the bigger issues is addressing the issue of improper use of religious liberty as a defense to discrimination. I think that it's an issue which is not only throughout the country, but we've even had some evidence of it locally here. And so I am concerned. And so I want to step forward and have something maybe that we can circulate for a view. I don't want to, I found some of the stuff that some of our friends locally were doing, promising never to visit certain states. Well, hell, they never went there anyway, so I don't know quite what the point of that was. But I would like to see something for council to have a look at, and then we can move forward on that. I know it's an important issue to the mayor and others on the council in past years, and I think it's something that we can talk about.
That's great.
I wanted to thank the chief. I'm glad you're here tonight. We had a little bit of confusion over on Edward Street. I forget what day it was, Monday, Tuesday? Maybe Tuesday. There was all sorts of stuff going on. We had road work, we had garbage being picked up, we had people parking on the street, and they shouldn't have been parking, but they couldn't get out because they were breaking up the road and so on. As it turned out, the confusion eventually cleared up, but I want to just publicly thank. I was taking pictures at a house in South Warren at 9:45, and my phone blew up. And by 11 o'clock, the chief and the folks over at DPS were on it, and were starting to kind of make sense of things. There is no good answer. I mean, on the one hand, the garbage pickup day is certainly a day, it is a convenient day because you have to keep your cars off the street for some of this work, but maybe a little warning might be useful too. because it was, I drove by there later on around noon, and there was a lot of stuff going on. So I realized that there's just no way around it. The work has got to get done. The road was deteriorating. But anyway, a little patience on all, I suppose, and we got through it that day. I wanted to just take note of the Memorial Day Parade coming up this weekend. This will be many of you I've seen over the years at the parade. My grandchildren grew up throwing candy in the parade to kids. This will be the first year in 17 years that we won't be there. We're going to be away. I've got a wedding up north, and the kids who were 6 and 7 years old, I don't know when people started having weddings on Memorial Day and holidays, but they're doing that more and more. And so we'll be up there for that, and the kids who were 6 and 7 throwing one piece of candy at a time, holding up the parade for miles, are now in college and now working over at Chrysler in internships and stuff. So I hope, just a reminder, it's a great parade. It's a tremendous community event. Goes off at 10 o'clock, I believe, is the start time. Of course, before that, they've got the pancakes at the Senior Center. And I hope everybody is blessed with good weather and a fine turnout, and have a safe weekend, and we'll see you next time. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Mark Bliss.
Yes, Your Honor. I would also like to congratulate those who were presented with the Police Department's commendations and awards. I'd also like to take a moment to acknowledge the dozens of unsung heroes that we didn't hear about today that impact our lives on a daily basis, and we don't even know about it. Our police department does a phenomenal job, more than we could ever express up here, and it's honestly the least that we can do to take a moment to acknowledge everything that the department does for us day in and day out. Even though we go about our daily lives as if nothing's ever happening, that's their job, and that's the end goal. They want us to know, to feel like there's nothing happening, that there's nothing to be afraid of, even though they're handling issues like you heard earlier in tonight's meeting. So I'd like to take a moment to thank everybody in the department, all the volunteers and citizens as well. It's phenomenal work that everybody does, and we are honored to have you all as a part of our city. The other thing that I'd like to talk about tonight, I'm a very big proponent, as many have seen over the past couple of years, in transparency and open government. And the first thing that I wanted us to do is get our meetings online and live streamed, and we were able to do that, and it was amazing. We've got high def cameras all through the room. If you're watching me in high def right now, I apologize. But it's really important for us to be able to broadcast what's going on in these discussions that take place at every single meeting we can. And so that was version 1.0. We were able to get it off of just the couple of cable providers that we worked with and put it online where anybody can see, with YouTube videos that everybody can share. I'd like us to start looking at version 2.0. It may take another year or so, but let's figure out how we can get all of our public meetings televised. Whether that means every meeting has to occur in this room, every board and commission occurs in this room, or if we can buy a remote camera and live stream those meetings. But every public meeting, in my opinion, should be televised, so that way the citizens have the opportunity to see what was discussed, what decisions were made, and what ideas were thrown out by their citizen peers who are serving on our boards. So I'd love for staff to take a look at what that would look like, whether we can remotely televise in the different rooms and locations where we host some of these meetings, or if logistically we'd have to do them in here. But in any case, I truly believe that we have to get these meetings out to the public. If not live, then at minimum the day after, so that people can watch the recordings. That's it, Your Honor.
Thank you. Councilman Robert Gettings.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to say I think the police and the volunteers and the reserves do an outstanding job If you leave a football game on a Friday night, they're out there making sure traffic gets dispensed correctly. Same thing with the festival and park, especially that night. Traffic is usually going every which way, trying to find a shortcut to a main road, and they do a phenomenal job. I'm glad the city was able to purchase those items for the department. I stay up late at night a lot and watch some of these different police shows, and it's nice that this stuff will be being recorded, not just for the city especially, I guess, and for the police officers to back them up. You guys do a great job, and I've lived in this community on and off since '57, and I've always thought it was a very, very safe community and didn't have to worry too much about crime. And the last thing, Mr. Mayor, was June 26th will be the festival in the park. I believe it starts at approximately 6 o'clock this year with a nice fireworks show, so hopefully everybody can come out with their families and have a good time. Thank you.
Thank you. City Attorney Jeffrey Sherman?
Nothing, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Interim Clerk Melissa Marsh? Or City Manager, excuse me.
It's okay.
Okay. Clerk Cheryl Prince?
No comments, thank you.
Councilman Richard Clark?
Just like to thank all the people that received the awards tonight, especially the reserves. I have firsthand knowledge of what they do. On rainy nights, stormy nights, traffic light goes out. Who do you see out there? The reserves to let the regulars go and do the more important, well, not more important, but to do the work that they are put out there to do. That's all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilwoman Marjean Scott?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to make sure that everybody knows that the Memorial Day Parade is not on Memorial Day, as erroneously reported in the Tribune. It's this Saturday, and that is May 28th. You'll see the signs throughout the city, but I would also encourage, whenever the city makes signs, to put the day of the week on it, because I know so many of the parades are on Memorial Day, but we have it on Saturday. So that means you can sit along the route, you can go on, you still go on your vacation if you want for that weekend, and celebrate with us. It will begin at 10 a.m., and I wanted to thank Rick Lewis, who stepped in at the last minute, and who's going to be moderating the parade with myself. The parade will be shown live on the city channel, so if you can't make it to the parade, please watch it on your city channel following at 10 o'clock, and you'll also be able to see it several times afterwards. They'll re-show it on our city channel. I also want to thank Martha Kehoe and all of her parade committee who have worked so hard throughout the year. Raising money for the parade was a very highly priority, and they did wonderfully. Also, if you're going to be in the parade, you need to register before 9 a.m. And remember that John R. will be closed between 12 and 13 Mile Road. So that's at 9:30 a.m., right, Corey? Starting at 9:30 a.m. this Saturday. So remember that if you're out and about, you need to get a different route. But we hope you'll be in the parade and watch it. I also wanted to ask if the city could list the members of the Madison Heights Community Roundtable Awards Luncheon. I think that they have been superlative in terms of being volunteers for our city. They've taken away many hours that we have had to spend, and they have given countless hours of their time helping our city become what it is. I wanted to also mention that their Special Volunteer of the Year was awarded to Carol Spellman, who's a member of the Madison Heights Intermediate Women's Club. And the Corporation of the Year, and I'm sure all you'll agree with this, is Texas Roadhouse, who have celebrated so many events and had fundraisers for so many of us there throughout the year. I also wanted to take a mention, because this is the time to do it, to congratulate all the students who are graduating from our local high schools in an alphabetical order. That would be Bishop Foley, Lanphier, and Madison High Schools. Best of luck in their future, and remember, they're all going to need summer jobs, so best of luck to them.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Dave Soltis?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I, too, want to thank the police for all your great work. It's always awesome to hear the stories that you have and the stories of bravery and courage. We all appreciate that. Also, Senior Day was in Lansing, May 11th, that we attended. Hundreds of seniors, advocates throughout the state attended, state legislators, right on the Capitol lawn. It was our third year. Great success, good time. Like each year, most of the seniors have not been to the Capitol, so it was nice to see their faces light up when they're inside the Capitol. With the architecture is absolutely beautiful. And they, again, for the third year, they were announced on the House floor and appreciate it, so they really enjoyed that. I want to thank the mayor for donating the American flags. They loved them. Everybody wanted one, but we only had so many from other cities, so I had to grab them back. But it's in our group picture, and that'll be in the CNG News this week. I think that also that the citizens of Madison Heights should be really proud that our city was the only one in the entire state of Michigan that had a council representation for at least 3 years, the last 3 years. So I think that's really good. I also concur with my colleague on the other side of the chambers, Councilman Corbett, regarding the human rights ordinance. We talked about this before, but in my opinion, I think it's well overdue. Thank you for bringing it up again. Also, I attended a Syrian refugee fundraiser the other night, and it's something I'm trying to build relationships with to try and get our multicultural relations advisory board up and running. It was a great event, but it was an event about tragedy, but it's also was an event about hope and overcoming. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Gettings, please.
Could I say one thing?
Yes, go ahead.
Ms. Marsh has stepped into the city manager's position for a couple weeks, and I think she's doing a great job. I know it's something different than she deals with on a day-to-day basis, but so far I think she's doing great. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thanks for clarifying. Thanks for the closing comments. I'm really inspired by Mr. Corbett's proposal tonight. I would like to see a draft resolution opposing discrimination on the basis of gender identity, and sexual orientation, and how that balances with the false sort of religious objections, really just thinly veiled discrimination. It'll be interesting to see what language we can adopt as a city. So thank you for calling for that public debate. I also want to thank the police officers, police reserves, and those who contribute to our safety. And a big thanks to the people who joined us to tonight's council meeting. Our council meetings can be pretty formulaic. I mean, we have set marching orders every meeting and we get through them. So if you feel like you weren't listened to, that's not true. We listened, we all made notes. You're going to be part of the public record. And, just as a personal aside, I know many members on council have open dialogue with both school districts and Bishop Foley. And it's a constant dialogue. We have sometimes competing interests, but 99% of the time our interests are identical. So the development of the Monroe site is very important to me. It's very important to the city. And so we thank you for bringing this issue to our attention. And we will follow the rules as they come. I mean, we're a city of laws, but we do appreciate public opinion at every step of the way. Now, kind of in the same light of what to do with Monroe, Arbor Day was about a month ago, and I think our city should do something. Maybe we should work with school kids to have an annual Arbor Day celebration. I was speaking with Councilwoman Margene Scott a couple of days ago about the importance of trees, and there was a pretty clever saying about trees. You remember, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. To inspire you on the importance of trees, I would like all of you on your way home tonight to drive down Moulin Avenue. Moulin is the residential street immediately south of Simons Elementary School. Simons is one of the Lanphier schools north of 12, west of DeQuinder. Moulin had the central block of Moulin had all of its trees removed for the sake of construction. It's devastating. When you drive down that street without any of the trees, it tugs at the heartstring when you see, wow, the entire character of a neighborhood was destroyed. But it's not just about the aesthetics or good looks. Trees add so much more. Studies will show that trees, a tree canopy, add to property values. It helps water runoff. Trees suck up a lot of water. They also reduce energy costs, especially trees that are planted to the south or west of properties. But just drive down Moulin, and I feel a sense of outrage. I'm trying to calm that rage down. But I think the city should reevaluate its construction policies and how we clear-cut trees for the sake of paving and laying pipes. And so maybe by Arbor Day 2017, the city will change its decades-old policy of not planting trees on private property. But that's all. I appreciate all the comments tonight. Like Councilman Corbett said, doors always open for any of us. I adjourn this meeting. Thank you. Good night.